For as long as I can remember, I've been an extremely picky eater. I have stories from when I was 4 years old, 5 years old, of my parents putting just some chicken in front of me and be like, here's dinner. And I would refuse to eat it due to my hatred of chicken at the time. And it was kind of like this battle of wills where I would sit there for hours and they'd be like, just eat the chicken. And I'd be like, no. And that seems to, like, that pickiness I picked up as a kid seems to have spread to other areas where I'll have a negative experience with some food, yogurt, tomatoes. I haven't even tried olives, but for some reason I thought I disliked them. But when I was over in Europe last week, one of the amazing things was I couldn't read the ingredients on the menu. I didn't really know what they're putting in it, but I decided to kind of go at it openly and just try the food, eat all the things they put in front of me. I ate potato salad for the first time. I would have told you I hated potato salad. I had tomatoes. They're not as disgusting as I thought. The small ones are actually pretty good. I had let's see what else. I had olives for the first time. And trying all these new foods and realizing how I actually enjoyed some of them, or at least they weren't disgusting, made me realize the power of identity and how today we identify with, oh, I don't eat that. Like, you identify with your diet. When I did keto, like, it kind of became part of my identity. For people who do veganism, it becomes part of their identity. They are a vegan. When I did carnivore and was having energy drinks at the same time, I had massive gut issues because the artificial sweeteners mixed with the lack of really any other bacteria in my diet. The whole thing, just don't do it. Don't do artificial sweeteners, especially don't do artificial sweeteners on carnivore. But it took me so long to leave carnivore and go to a different diet because I'd been doing it for years. I identified with, like, I eat the carnivore diet. It was who Jason was. Jason did carnivore. Jason doesn't like tomatoes. Jason doesn't like yogurt. He doesn't like mayonnaise. He doesn't like cheese. Actually, turns out I like cheddar cheese. For the longest time, I've told you I didn't like any cheese. And for me, part of it was I enjoyed the reactions on people's faces when you told them that you didn't eat cheese. They're like, you don't eat cheese? I'm like, yeah, I just don't like it. And it was like, part of the shock value definitely led to me keeping it as part of my identity as long as I did. But also part of it is like, for some reason you have this crazy thought of, if I don't eat cheese, if I don't do these things that I used to say that this is what I do, then who am I? You kind of challenge your identity a little bit. It's the person who does the keto diet, does veganism, and they have all their friends and they do the diet and they do veganism, and then that person might start getting health issues, they pop up, and then that person no longer does keto or does veganism, and over time they start to wonder, well, what am I going to talk to my friends about? Because it turns out your friendships are really just based around the fact that you guys do this joint activity together. You have this joint interest, and you start realizing you've defined yourself by this activity, but you're more than an activity. You're more than just individual things that you select and pull together. Like, that's not what you are. It's not what it means to be a person. But it's such a part of things that you get caught up in today. When I stopped wrestling in college, it was like an ego death, kind of, because I'm like, well, I'm not a wrestler anymore. I mean, for years I defined myself as I am Jason the wrestler. My friends knew me as Jason the wrestler, but once I no longer wrestled, then what, I was Jason? Who's Jason? Like, what makes up Jason? Because I would look at all the things that would make up Jason, my tastes, my music, the foods I ate, where I lived, and I would define myself by those things instead of by the essence of myself. And over time, you wind up having this disconnect between the two. And then you no longer want to change those habits you once had. You no longer want to improve or move to a new city because that's not who the you that you think you are would do. And it's this weird thing that a lot of people can notice. Give it a second shot. Look at the things that you tell yourself you don't like to eat, or the things that you say you don't like to do, and try them again. I mean, even for me, I have some reluctance. Like, I am Jason with the beard. Like, that is who I've been for years now. I think 4 years or something. And I have a reluctance around shaving it, even though I don't think I actually will shave, but it's become part of my identity. And I just think it's very interesting to notice this and notice where the reluctance is coming from. Because part of me is like, well, I enjoy having the beard, and I vastly do. I love how it feels in the wind, in the water, when you put your head right at the water level like this with it. I love playing with it. But it's not who I am, and I have to kind of remind myself of that. It's part of the reason why I shave my head every winter, because it's not who, like, it's to remind myself that the way I dress, the way I look, the hairstyle I have, it's not me. It's how I choose to present myself at the moment, but it's not like, it's not my humanity, it's not my soul, it's not the thing that makes me uniquely myself. It's just something that I like to do. And I didn't want to be tied up with concern about my hair. I didn't want to worry about what if I had a bad haircut. So I just decided, you know what, this is way too much thought I'm putting into it, and I just shaved the whole thing off. And ever since I started doing that, I actually, getting on a sidetrack here, but I really like putting on these changes that you do in the seasonality of it, because when your head's shaved during the winter, you feel the cold air, you get the contrast. But if you keep your hair at the same length all the time, then you don't really appreciate it the same. You don't feel it in the wind. You don't feel the cold air on your scalp when you shave it. You can't appreciate the sun being kept off your head because it's never changing. It's always the same, and it's hard to be aware of something that never changes because you don't have anything to compare it to. It's why, even though I won't shave the beard off completely yet, I trimmed it significantly between today and yesterday and took off about an inch, a little less than an inch, because I want to have the longer, the shorter, the hot, the cold, and the happiness and the sadness. I wanted to feel the sadness when I was sick. I wanted to feel the misery that I felt, so that when I would be happy, I'd be like, yes, I'm very happy right now. When I'm feeling normal, I'm like, thank God I'm not sick. And you need to create this contrast within your life somehow. You need to have times of working a lot and times of rest. And for the longest time, this is a topic for another video, I was kind of in this limbo of always kind of working. And I'll talk about that more probably in tomorrow's video. But yeah, if you found this interesting, check out some more of my videos and like and subscribe.